And good day, friends and community of All Saints. Reverend Jessica here, sitting in our memorial garden. And I just wanted to chat with you all a little bit about our upcoming offering on grief and hope. Our grief ministry team, some of us over the course of this last month in March, we took a particular series out of Luther Seminary, out of their Faith Plus Lead branch of ministry on ministering to grieving people. And Linda Miller, Joe Browning, Pat Thompson, myself all took this 4-week series. And we wanted to share a little bit about the learnings and gleanings that we had there, as well as the wonderful reminders of things that we've learned from previous experiences, such as walking the mourner's path. Hey, Eric. Hey, Sarah. Glad to see you both. Um, so a few things. I want to note that over the past year, there has been so much change and so much loss. And any change in and of itself necessitates loss of some kind, letting go or giving up of something to embrace the new. And sometimes that's really exciting and lovely. And other times there is this emotion of grief that comes with that change, that comes with the loss. And grief we can see as or understand as that painful, internal, emotional, bodily, spiritual, mental experience of the loss that's painful in and of itself, but is this internal experience. Whereas mourning is the external expression of our grief, the external expression of all that is going on in our inner world. And sometimes that is through anger or through shock or denial or bargaining or acceptance or raging out or crying or breaking down or even just simple things like memory loss and short temper and frustration and inability to really concentrate and focus. All of these reactions or responses really is our grief manifesting. And when we don't acknowledge or name the losses that we've had in our lives and the grief that we've had and allow ourselves to mourn the grief, show that expression, then we're really hindering ourselves. It's like we are taking upon that backpack of rocks and we're just carrying it around. Or it's like many of you saw the photo I posted the other week of our new columbarium that was delivered and just plopped, a 400-pound block plopped in the middle of our walkway over here. And it was blocking all directions. Grief can be like that, unresolved, undealt with grief can be like that, where no matter what, it just keeps blocking our path, no matter which way we go. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Dad. Glad you're joining. And another really helpful image um, that the course talked about was how grief and mourning is like a tunnel in the middle of a huge mountain. And you're headed towards the tunnel and you see the tunnel and it's dark and it's dreary and it's unknown. And I don't really want to go in this tunnel. So can we go around the tunnel? No, we can't really go around the tunnel. Can we go under the tunnel? No, that's not a thing you can't go under. Can we go over it? Nope, this mountain is way too steep. There's no way we can go over it, right? Unless we had a helicopter or something. We can't go around it or over it or under it. The only way we can go is through it. And so even if we don't want to, we enter into that tunnel of grief. We enter into the midst of that loss and that mourning and that expression of pain, that love that is searching for a way to be expressed and continue upon. And we get into this dark tunnel. And sometimes we can feel like we are lost because it's pitch black and we just can't see the way forward. Other times there might be a light and we wonder, is this just a nice little light or a angel, a messenger that has embraced us along our path, that has helped us get through this section of the tunnel? Or is it maybe, just maybe, the light at the end of the tunnel and I can see that we're heading through? Or perhaps for just that day, it's another train that is about to flatten us on our backs. because grief can be that way. It's a journey, it's a process, and there are moments of lightness and moments of acceptance and moments of joy and meaning and healing and these little resurrections that meet us along the way. And then there are also those times where we pull out just the right photo, or we stumble upon a phrase or an image or a favorite food or thing or clothing, and it flattens us again, all over again. I invite you to join us for further conversation next Wednesday, the 14th, and the following on April 21st, both 7 p.m. We're going to do a Zoom series. We're going to talk about grief and mourning. We're also going to talk about hope and resurrection. Our culture at large is not great at expressing our grief. We're not great at mourning and allowing safe avenues for folks to mourn. And so, this is one avenue in which you can name the losses and grief that you've experienced in the past year, an avenue in which you can mourn and you can share your story and you can be reassured with at least a little bit of hope, the hope that we find in God's presence, the hope that we find in a faith community, and the many little resurrections that we find in our lives and in our midst. The Bishop of Washington, D.C., the Diocese of D.C., and the Episcopal Church, Bishop Marianne Budd, she did an excellent sermon on Easter Sunday, and she talks about the resurrection not as an event, a one-time event, but instead as little resurrections, little moments of hope along the way. And so you'll have an opportunity to share those pieces as well in our conversation. I invite you to join. When I'm done this, I will try to copy and paste the link to sign up in the chats below. If not, you can go to our All Saints Facebook page, and we do have an event already set up, and you can sign up there. That way you can get all the information, and we'll send out a little inventory and some pieces of material that you can look over beforehand and in between the sessions as a way to aid us all in the grief that we've experienced. There's been a lot of loss in the last year, and there will continue to be grief as we emerge out of this pandemic, as we find new ways to be a creative community. Hey, Rosemary, good to see you. So come and join us in this conversation on grief and hope. I hope to see you. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me with a direct message or email. Peace and love to you all.